Hey guys, sorry about the delay. I wasn't home. All right. Here's Dork. What's up, dude?
There we go. How you doing?
Trying to get your microphone as close to your face as feasibly possible.
Not quite, but yeah.
Nice.
Two finger rule.
It's just two finger rules,
That's how you get.
kind of dirty.
That's how you get. That's how you get crispy, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah.
gotta get like two fingers
so
away. It's
Oh
ridiculous.
fuck yeah, yeah you do. I'm almost there. Keep going.
Fixed income strategies.
All right, let's start the stream, guys. Nah. Where the hell's the cat? We need our resident feline.
I don't know. Does he even know this is happening right now?
Probably not.
Better question, does he actually give a shit?
Probably not. He probably cares. He likes explaining things to people over and over again. It's his job.
He's always on poop duty when we do these, though.
That's true, yeah. There's always some sort of poop emergency going on when he's here.
What is a gamma? You bastard.
It's a great question. Nobody knows.
Yeah, I went out to get my dinner and like go pick it up. It was like a day off, so treated myself, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And I was like, man, I feel like I should be doing something else. And I remembered I had to do this. So I got Chick-fil-A and came home.
There you go. Chick-fil-A, I'm not going to lie, pretty decent.
I've got like the grilled chicken sandwich. Tastes like
The
homophobia.
grilled one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you all of a sudden have like a strong urge to go to church?
No, but now when you leave, they're like, have a blessed day. So it's
Oh,
getting
yeah.
like more and more of a culty experience.
Hashtag blessed.
The Chick-fil-A key lime limeade with vodka is chef's kiss. Huh.
Hmm.
It's like a margarita.
So, like, should I make that for all the guys I'm going to go and have an orgy with?
Only if you bring it in a Chick-fil-A cup.
It's going to be in a Chick-fil-A cup, yes, absolutely. I may even also butt dial the CEO of Chick-fil-A while I'm there in action,
Nice. He's into
fully
that shit.
torqued. I'm sure he is. Sorry, Jen.
What would DN and GM staying relatively flat, but VN changing rapidly indicate? Ooh, what stock?
Is it SPXW by chance?
Matthew?
It's just a hypo, like a hypodermic needle? Is that what the kids are calling it these days when they're slamming junk with each other? They're like, hey, man, pass me the hypo.
Probably.
Is hypo a ticker?
You know,
Hypothetical.
I used to think that's what hyphy meant.
Mm.
I was wrong.
This is what happens when you don't hang out in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's not a lot that's worthwhile in the Bay Area. I'm just trying to make the Bay Area crowd angry. You guys have ruined more campsites for me than I can even count, so you don't get to talk.
Is there a Bay Area crowd in the pickle jar? You'd think they'd find this place abhorrent.
There actually is, yeah, and yeah,
Who?
I have very mixed
Me
feelings
too?
about people from the Bay Area. I don't think he's from the Bay Area.
Hmm.
He just acts like it.
I mean, he doesn't live in the Bay.
Look, all right, okay, Bay Area guys, I know you guys are getting all fired up right now. I know Han is from the Bay Area, but there was one of my favorite campsites got absolutely destroyed by people from the Bay Area when some chick decided to talk about it on TikTok and put exact directions to this campsite that can hold maybe 20 people because it had a cute little bridge, and it got like 2 million views on TikTok. And I happened to be camping there that day, and like we were leaving and there were cars showing up and it was a lot of cars, and then I heard that they closed the campsite indefinitely because there were 200 illegally parked cars on a single lane street, and all these idiots were out there with charcoal grills and shit in the middle of fucking August. All right, and if there was a fire, they'd all die. All right, I don't want to hear it. Okay, I have very mixed feelings about people from the Bay Area because they ruin a lot of things that I love.
But they give
So,
us like
yeah.
amazing things like hold on.
Like the brain cancer that is social media.
Technically that came from Harvard.
I guess that's true. You know what, Altez, I'll give you that. There's some parts of the Bay that are okay. Very, very small parts. But most of it's pretty awful. Like Pacifica is pretty cool because no one lives there.
Mm. There was this Japanese restaurant by like Crescent Moon Bay. Is that what it's called? That I loved. It was like this old Japanese couple.
Crescent
And
Beach.
hmm?
You're talking about Lake Tahoe?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Over by Pacifica.
Oh.
It was like this old Japanese couple, and he was like Japanese World War II veteran, and he made sushi, and his wife yelled at him, and it was the best restaurant I've ever been to.
Wait, like World War II veteran, like for Americans or for like Japanese?
No.
Like he's got like a sword. Like was he an officer? He's got a sword. Like
he
hidden
had
in his
his
basement.
he had his like officer's uniform from World War II hung up on the wall.
Oh my god, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
I went beach camping in Pacifica one time, illegally, mind you, and we got 2 or 3 flyovers from from the Coast Guard just to make sure we weren't dying. Half Moon
Half
Bay.
Moon Bay. That's what it is.
Yeah, we had to climb down a sandy, like a 70-foot sandy cliff with all this stuff, like speakers and ice chests and all that, and we just wooked out for like 3 nights.
So you did a bunch of drugs.
Oh yeah, and we dug like a 6-foot deep fire pit and just fucking burned a bunch of driftwood like every night, and then just buried it. It's crazy, like you feel the water like just condensing on your skin when you're out there all night.
It's probably good for you.
Probably.
I don't camp. I'm from there, just live here. You left us for cheaper pork.
I mean, yeah, and greener pastures. Look, I've never lived in the Bay Area, okay? I've only ever traveled there for work and for pleasure on occasion back in the day. And when I'm there for work, right, I'm wearing like just some regular guy jeans and like a Dickies shirt, right? Because that's, regular attire. And there's just a bunch of people walking around in crazy skinny jeans and V-necks, like crew cuts, with these fucking name tags around their neck. And they just stare at me like I'm a fucking alien from Mars. All right? I don't like that. It's just a weird place. The How Weird Festival is actually pretty cool. Except for the part where there's naked old dudes walking around that are way too tan. But,
Those are the real leather daddies.
I mean, they're honestly, of all the people in the Bay Area, I'd probably like them the most.
Oh, look, it's J-Fresh. I went to a nudist camp that was just behind a house at Berkeley.
See a bunch of old man dong? That's usually what I see at nudist spots.
Yeah.
Berkeley's a weird place, man.
It is. You got to wear those weird, really short baseball caps and ride a fixed gear bicycle wherever you go.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Berkeley.
Me either.
Jay Fresh, did you go to Berkeley and get a tattoo on Haight and Ashbury and regret it?
No,
Like a tramp stamp?
But that's on the other side.
they have
of
nice.
the
They have
city.
nice views of the. They have nice views of the bay. That's about it.
Yeah, and then like a 5-minute drive from there, it smells like shit.
I stayed at a hotel that was like right on the water in Berkeley. It's like a hotel and conference center, and it was just infested with roaches.
Ew.
You know where is actually kind of pleasant in the Bay Area is South San Francisco, where all the industrial shit is, because everybody there is there for work, and so they're all miserable, and they just keep to themselves.
Mm.
You mean about like Chinatown?
You know-
No, I mean like South San Francisco, where they have another airport. That's where all the med tech is.
Do you know where else is infested with roaches? Washington, D.C. It's fucking disgusting.
It's our nation's capital, ladies and gentlemen.
It's also a swamp.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although I
It
must
makes
say
no sense.
Maryland is pretty cool in the summer.
It makes no sense.
I think
to have
he's
a couple
talking
there.
about Daly City, but I'm not sure.
What? With South San Francisco? It's literally called South San Francisco. You like drive south when you hit San Francisco, and then you go south for like 30, 40 minutes, and then maybe even 25 minutes, and then you're just in this weird, like, there's like a bank and some other weird shit. It's kind of by
Oh!
Redwood City.
It's on like the inland side by SFO. SF
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's right
tech-
by the airport.
Yeah, there's a lot of tech shit around there, a lot of med tech. Like Roche Group is around there. If any of you guys are med tech.
I used to
Oh
like
my
driving
God.
across that bridge on like was it the 580?
Oh, that bridge is cool where it goes like 1,000,000 miles in the air.
Yeah, and then it goes like right into San Quentin.
Yeah. Oh, it is pretty cool.
Why are we talking about San Francisco?
Because I
Nobody's
really,
asking us
really
any
dislike
questions
it.
about Gammastrike.
Yeah. Someone asked what's a gamma, and we couldn't answer it. So if you want to take that one.
People get shot on that highway? The 580?
I'm not shocked by that. It's San Francisco. Everybody drives like they're high on meth and they have the worst day of their life.
You'd think more people would be getting shot in like Vallejo, which is a shithole.
I used to do sound for Vallejo High School's graduations. Like they had, so it was Vallejo High School and like a couple other neighboring high schools would have this graduation all at once. And by the end of the last graduation, which had like a graduating class of like 1,200 or something crazy, like before I could even take the first speaker down, everyone was just gone. Of course you have an uncle in fucking Benicia, Nitu. Of course you do. Fucking old money motherfucker.
You know what we should get like all of the tech bros on? Like a problem that they can solve?
The baby issue?
Nope. Making graduations not suck butt.
How do
You
they
don't
do
need-
that?
okay,
Promise them a
so-
job when they finish high school or college?
No,
I don't know. That's not my
sedate
problem.
the audience.
Like, this is a real problem that people have, is they have to go to all these graduations and they suck.
Well, because they're boring and full of pomp and circumstance. I must say the Vallejo one was pretty cool though, because like there was this one high school for like super disadvantaged people who were like graduating when they're like 20 and shit, and their families are just over the moon. Like a lot of them are like these kids who are graduating. Well, adults who are graduating are like the first person in their family to graduate high school. So it was pretty cool to see that and how happy they were.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but can you find a way to like allow for that expression, but like get rid of all the shitty parts?
Like
I just said
going?
sedate the audience.
They need to innovate that.
Strippers. And you pay money like for the strippers to show up when your student walks across the thing, right? And the more money you pay, the more strippers you get, and half the proceeds go to the school.
All right, if it's an adult education school in Vallejo, let me tell you, you don't need to bring extra strippers.
I don't know, like get a band or something. Not the school band though. The school band ones are shitty. I've had to mic up a school band with 3 condenser mics, like 3 pencil mics, and it was windy. And so I basically just didn't have the mics on, and everyone's like, the band's too quiet. And I'm like, I'm not gonna. All you're gonna hear is wind when I turn up these mics. I don't say that though. I just say, sorry, they're up as high as they go, which is not up at all.
You don't even get your diploma. I've gone through my entire professional career and the rest of my life without anybody ever asking me for a high school diploma.
I've never had to prove that I've graduated high school. Never once.
Is that even a thing? Can you just
When you apply for college, yeah. But I just assessed in instead of saying I went to these classes in high school because I didn't know I could do that.
How do you even prove you went to high school? I have no idea.
You have a high school diploma?
yeah,
I don't know what the fuck
diploma.
mine is. You can get a copy from your school though if you want to.
I didn't even graduate, I don't think.
What, from high school?
Yeah, I just left.
You just didn't go anymore?
Yeah, I went to college.
How'd you go to, did you just assess in like I did?
No, I just like,
How'd they let you in?
well, I applied there and then I got accepted, but I
Oh,
still had like a year of school left, and I just went.
that works.
I think I
Kind of like what I
graduated.
did.
I had like enough credits, but I never had like a graduation.
Yeah, they pretty much like try
Yeah, it
their
was early
absolute
early
hardest to
acceptance.
graduate you. Like the lengths that a high school will go through to get you to never be there again ever is is a lot.
That might have just
Well,
been
it will.
you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Gandalf the Tits has arrived. We can start.
I'm just saying, like, if anybody asks me for my high school diploma, I'm not sure I have one, or that I could, like furnish one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
could
don't know
maybe
what mine
produce one
is.
in like 2 weeks if you give me some time.
I'd be like, what do you want to know?
They also like closed the high school I went to.
Good evening, guys.
Hey, what's up, man?
Shit,
I,
a real question.
I appreciate the banter.
I noticed you're
But,
not a billionaire right now, and I want to tell you I'm disappointed.
and I understand how you feel.
Okay.
That was really mature response. I like that.
Yeah, that actually was.
But
I was
but
expecting the shaming to work better.
in regards to Gammastrike, I was just wondering, and for somebody, if somebody's watching the live stream and getting the data just from the live stream, what other benefits, what is there to gain from subscribing and getting the full gamut?
Well, on the live stream, I only show live data for SPX. I do not show live data for the other tickers that we have live data for. So QQQ, SPY, the MAG7. None of those.
Hold on. Let me make sure I understand your question. Are you asking for somebody that is signed up for the end of day data or somebody who's not signed up at all?
Hmm.
Either, but 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 not signed up at all.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the not signed up at all is easy. Most of the analysis that we do, at least to like set yourself up for, the trading day, is all done with the end of day data. You're welcome to peruse the docs to see what those features are, or we could go through them in more detail if people have specific questions about each one.
And
Yeah, it's
and I'm
always
also saying, sorry to cut you off. People on the fence, maybe people who are just seeing the live SPX intraday, and kind of what they might be missing by not subscribing.
I mean, for me, like if I were just trading SPX and I had access to the stream, I think the thing that would probably bother me the most is like um I don't switch the screen to the Greeks by Strike very often, but I myself have Greeks by Strike open in another window all the time. Um and so like and then, additionally, not being able to go look at like SPY and QQQ. Some days you got, like a lot of liquidity in NQ, or NQ's outperforming, and it really helps to be able to like go look at QQQ when you're trading SPX. And like, I mean, I simply can't do that all on the stream. So on the stream, you kind of just get the one live data page, and that's it. And it's good, but it's definitely not the complete picture.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's definitely a disadvantage. Additionally, I mean, I mean, I go over like end of day stuff and pickles picks, but if you're not like a billionaire and you're not like on the stream, um, you're not gonna really get any of that overnight information, of which there is a lot, right? Like the overnight tells you about the positioning going into the day, where larger positioning is further out on the chain, all of which have an effect on intraday trading. And then, the volatility, what's going on with volatility, short-term IV, historic vol, the implied moves, and then, like the broader dealer positioning out on the neutral charts and stuff like that. All of which pre-inform the next trading session. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't get all of that just by me streaming the one page. Unfortunately, I'd love to be able to like showcase everything all the time, but I just can't. Like, it's just too many moving parts.
So I have a thing that they're missing out on. Can the non-subscribers tell me how much delta in total is falling off the chain in the next 5 days?
I don't think anybody can tell you that because we haven't given anybody that feature.
Yeah, we have. It's right here. It's right here. I'm looking right at it. We
It's-
have this thing. It's been here for a while.
It's
How
not
much
in
delta is
prod.
falling off the chain? No, for everything, for the whole market.
Oh,
We got that.
where?
Options macro, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's huge. Knowing how much delta is going to fall off the chain in 5 days, that's huge. Like, and not only that, but all the other cool features on the macro page. Like, if you're just trying to get your feet wet with, picking stuff out, or you want to diversify, or you want to buy index funds, you want to anything like that, this macro page gives you an idea of what environment you're jumping into. And also, along with that, another thing you're missing out on is all of our cool little scanners. Right? You want to sift out some opportunities potentially? You could use those scanners to filter by things that are pretty cool. And I mean, the end of day Greeks too. I mean, we have end of day Greeks for what, 813 tickers now. So, you have a stock in mind,
More than
and
that.
it's got
It's like
options on it. We
840.
probably have it.
Tickers. So
You definitely have all the ones that matter and a lot of shit tickers that you guys have asked for.
yeah, we've had a lot of ones that matter and some that don't. But yeah, it's honestly
The wealth of information at your fingertips, right, is what you're really missing out on. You have to ask someone, and someone may or may not get back to you. That maybe they're all too busy gooning over the data, right? It's all at your fingertips when you have this. So I mean, like that's what you're really missing out on is really and ironically enough everything. But the options macro page to me is massive. It's huge. It's bigly.
Well, you've more than answered my question. Does anybody else have their hand raised?
No, you
I'm
could
still here.
you could go
Okay.
again if you got another one.
I could come up with something.
All right.
Looking forward, is there anything in the pipeline and anything maybe you guys want to share?
Were you here last week?
Kind of a tease. Probably, I believe so.
Yeah, we're pushing out the new volatility page this week to the beta subscribers.
Yeah, everyone's going to see our butt in the form of volatility.
It's true.
And it has a catchy name. What is the name?
Volatility.
Yeah. It's just,
I don't think it
Okay.
has a catchy name.
it's just a rework of the volatility
The,
page. I could
okay.
share it. I have it like pulled up here.
But the specific like the 3D chart.
Yes, the surface.
Correct. Vol surface. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, we will be adding the vol surface as part of that update.
Which you can sort of like look at and turn around and kind of move through.
Yep. And we've got all
Yes.
the hold on, I'm trying to
Term structure.
Yeah, we got well basically you've got the surface itself. I was just trying to get the pages loaded up. You've got the surface itself, and then but you can also look at the slices of that surface vis-a-vis the term structure or the smile. And that gives you a little bit more granularity into looking at volatility across expirations, and how the volatility environment is changing over time. Also, how volatility is going to react to changes in prices vis-a-vis the term structure. And then all of that should be getting pushed out. Are we pushing that out tonight?
Let's do it. Did anybody tell Nuke to push it?
I don't know. I think I did earlier.
He's not push boy.
Who's push boy?
I think.
And he is.
Yeah.
It's okay, Nuke. Take your time.
Wait, did you see
Is
him?
he here?
Yeah, he's here. He's in the chat.
Oh,
You guys
Nuke's
didn't
the
see my
best.
Gandalf image? How could you?
okay. If
We're
not
talking
today, this
about-
weekend, that's fine.
Oh, he's here. Why can't I find him in the list of people? Oh, there he is. Haha.
Look for a small whale riding a ICBM.
Is it a baby whale?
Yeah, I would say it is.
But yeah, that's just one thing in the cooker. We got another thing in the cooker too. We have two things in the cooker that we're working on making really, really good. They're both in a really good spot. We just gotta get the last little kinks worked out and then sign
Finishing
off on it, and
touches.
then away it goes. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know about finishing touches. We're still working on making it super usable. It's definitely
Yeah.
come a long way, but
Is there a target for launch? Full launch?
As
For
soon as
full
possible.
launch?
As soon as we fucking can. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Right now we're targeting like kind of the 1 year anniversary for having everything finalized and starting like the marketing push and all of that.
It's a huge undertaking.
It
It's
has been.
admirable.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to comment about maybe if nobody has their hand raised, today's brief price action and maybe kind of looking towards tomorrow and AM expiration?
Yeah, we can actually take a look at that.
yeah. People were just selling a bunch of futures and there was no buttholes that could sell puts on them, so they just went down.
There's
And
also
then
a
the
metric
overnight
fuck
session
ton of
opened.
delta falling off in the
Yeah,
morning.
Well, then the overnight session opened and they sold a bunch of puts. The
Gotta
end.
love it.
I mean, did they sell puts? Or did they just buy futures?
Well, the VIX dropped 1 whole point.
Yeah. But VX is up.
Are we waiting for Liberation Day 2.0?
That's next. That's the next big Actually, that and the budget bill are the next two
Right.
big, like, market ending macro events, or potentially market ending macro events. I mean, I think in its current state, they're having a really hard time getting the debt ceiling raised, which is a problem because they need it raised uh, pretty soon. They have the X date coming up where the Treasury runs out of alternative means for funding. Um, and then,
Which is it a part of the bill?
well, yeah,
The debt
yeah,
the debt
raise the
ceiling?
Yeah, they
debt
want to
ceiling
raise.
is,
So
Well,
so
it's
those
currently
those
stuck in the
kind of
Senate.
within a couple of days in early July is kind of what we're looking towards, I
um,
suppose.
well, yes.
Okay,
Some of the reciprocal tariffs are coming due, but China's were moved out to August.
right.
However, we still don't have deals with literally anyone else. So, it's
And there were supposed to be.
yes, 90 deals in 90 days. Right now we're 0 for 90 at like 70 days.
He's just gonna push it out again.
Yeah, that's
And what if this
I mean,
weird,
that's the
like,
market's
Iran has
assumption
2
too.
weeks? They're currently
It seems
already
like
getting
maybe
bombed.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was like, what? I mean, nobody's. I don't think anybody's even trading anymore based on really what he's saying. They're just assuming that he's not going to do anything of any importance, and everyone's just ignoring him.
Taco.
Yeah, the market is all in on the taco trade. But we are in a situation here where we've priced in the absolute best outcome for everything in the macro environment, and so
For
it's
the next 20 years.
Since
Yeah.
April.
yeah.
Well, I mean, pricing
Almost.
that in would mean we're at like 62.50, wouldn't it?
No,
What?
If
I
we
mean,
were if
we
we were in everything is awesome world, we'd be at 62.50 right now, wouldn't we?
I don't know. I feel like 6250
Like-
was way over
Like if I
exuberant
if I
Stocks are
could,
more expensive now than they were before
before April.
before all the tariff nonsense because
I almost think
earnings
we
expectations
plunged
are dropping.
and then
Ah.
automatically, started to price in that best case scenario.
Yeah, well, we did upon Trump starting to pull back tariffs. At one point, he seemed very serious about them, and the market did not like that shit. And then as soon as he showed any sign of weakness, right back up again. I mean, right now we have like a unilateral trade deal basically priced in with China, probably with the EU as well. We're pricing in the Treasury, like the debt ceiling is going to get raised, the Treasury is going to be fine. We're pricing in that the Fed's still going to be able to cut at some point, which they can't do in the face of all this uncertainty. We're pricing in that oil prices aren't just going to drive us into a massive recession. We actually have like a shocking number of macroeconomic similarities to like the late 70s, when inflation went wild and Arthur Burns fucked everybody for a decade. It's really similar. Even the war with Iran potentially creating a massive price spike in oil. Also, supply issues in oil.
Who could have seen this coming?
Me,
Gammastrike.
you guys. Yeah, Gammastrike was, honestly, back in like Feb and March, Gammastrike was fucking spot on with the inference that the market was gonna fail. I mean, the data, almost all the data pointed to us like being at the top when we started to fall, and it was very useful for finding those price targets to the downside. It was great for like the Feb to March drop, and then the March into April drop. I think the market was very well prepared for that drop.
Is March seemed very orderly, and then after Liberation Day, it took off, and then quickly recovered with some volatility.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that 13% day on the China tariff deal was
And to have, just to say, to have Gammastrike, during that period, it's invaluable.
yeah. It also didn't shit
Huge.
the bed, which
Yeah,
which some of my
right.
brokers did, but yeah, it was definitely it was a huge boon to the pickle jar.
Yeah. Shout out to Nuke.
Nuke left.
Is-
Oh, he's not
again.
here anymore.
Come on.
He left.
Yep.
He hates me.
Yes.
Oh,
He DM'd me. Tell Dork I hate him.
oh, I got that DM too.
Um,
Weird.
Oh, that little
regards
scamp.
In regards to the Bay Area, have you ever been to Stinson Beach?
Oh
No.
no.
Okay. It would be on just like the West Coast, Marin County.
Okay, so like north of the city.
Correct.
I don't know if I necessarily count Marin County in the rest of the Bay Area. That's the origin of mountain
Really?
biking.
Okay. But you included Vallejo, for
No,
example.
no, no. We were just
And
talking about getting stabbed in Vallejo.
I understand.
No.
I've been.
Well, for 2 out of 5 stars on Yelp, getting stabbed.
Like I said, former Bay Area.
Yeah, I just can't get down with it. I mean, the thing is that they like to go places once and go ham there and then completely ruin it and then leave. Except for Lake Tahoe, they like to repeatedly go
burn.
there and dump White Claw cans into the lake. That's something they're big fans of. Although that could be
Careful.
Reno people too. I'm not gonna lie. Reno
Yeah,
people are
that's
pretty
definitely
fucking trashy.
Also just Lake Tahoe people.
No, they just leave little heroin and crack baggies laying around.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
They should. Do they
You
not
know,
have
you
a
know
lot
what I
of their-
actually really liked? My favorite part of California outside of SoCal was Santa Rosa, Petaluma.
Hmm.
That area was cool. It wasn't as like hicky as it gets north of
707.
there.
Yep.
And it wasn't as weird as like the coastal Redwood area, which is just creepy. And also there's no cell phone service anywhere.
I'm a big fan of Santa Cruz and San
Beach
Luis
Boardwalk.
Obispo. Yeah, Santa Cruz. Oh yeah, the
Mission.
area, the surrounding areas of
San Luis
Santa Cruz,
Obispo.
like the trails, are really beautiful. I saw an albino fur in Santa Cruz one time. We had to walk like 10 miles to see it. I was definitely frying while I was looking at it. But yeah, SoCal once again. You literally have to pay me money to go to SoCal. I only go there for business. Bay Area, pretty much the same thing. It just doesn't do it for me.
Doesn't warm
I've
the
spent
cockles?
I've spent
No.
an inordinate amount of time in Trinity National Forest.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because you were a weed dude
Burying
for a bit. That
bodies?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If he's a weed dude in Trinity, he's definitely disappearing people.
I wasn't disappearing people.
What's up with nobody else wanting to raise their hand? Come
I
on,
don't know.
guys.
They must know Gammastrike inside and out, and they already are fully educated.
Everyone's just making money, clearly.
Apparently.
Oh, moped. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Let's get you up here.
I mean, can there be more than one commenter?
Sure, you can stick around.
As long as there's no cacophony.
This,
Like
Keep
the
it orderly, folks.
it triggers my
Yeah,
autism, but
in the
yeah,
corner.
you can hang out.
Sit in the corner and take notes and listen.
What's up, moped?
Hey, what's up, guys? So, I definitely not making money, but trying to get there. And
Congratulations.
yeah, and I stare at the SPX live chart every day on Gammastrike. But so the question, I guess, is in the pickles picks, like every night, there's not just the image, there's like a description. So I guess, Gherk, like how much of that text description is your interpretation versus this is objectively what the data in GS is telling us?
Boo.
So I guess just trying to get better at how to interpret, oh, this means we're stuck in a range, or these are the supports and resistances, and getting a feel for the action.
I'm doing a lot of yeah, I mean it's like 50-50 maybe 60-40. I mean, I'm definitely talking about like the data, but I am interpreting it as well.
Is
So
it your interpret? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's both. It's hard. I don't know. I never expected to get that question. I don't actually know how much is what. so used to doing it that like, I mean, I can think about it this way. I can do pickles picks with like a pretty high degree of accuracy with 22 hours of no sleep, sometimes slightly drunk. And so like, yeah, I mean, the information that I'm offering is in the data, but there is still interpretation.
Is there anything in particular, like in terms of interpreting the data? So a good exercise for the reader of the pickles pick is to try to interpret the same thing from the data. But also, is there anything in particular that you would like to get some advice and help interpreting?
I think so. So the scenario I'm most interested in are the overnight straddles and being able to decide, okay, this is going to be the support for the day, the major resistance for the day. And I mean, Gherkin will say, hey, why aren't you guys making money? Just find a support and resistance as the straddle. But it seems a bit more difficult in practice. So maybe how to better interpret the data of, okay, this looks like this is indicating we might be, this might be kind of sticky, or this might be a support or resistance, if that makes sense. Just trying to exit the straddle.
I mean, I would say gamma and delta are the two things. Like, if I had to like tier things in order of like most interpreted to least interpreted, I would say that it's probably goes like Greeks by strike, and Greeks, like the Greek neutrals rather. Greek neutrals are definitely have the most interpretation going on. And then maybe like maybe volatility after that. And then the harder data stuff is definitely like Greeks by strike and options macro. And then, well, actually, the technical analysis, like on ES, is by far the most interpretive. And then Greek neutrals, and then vol, and then Greek Spy Strike is definitely the least interpretive. And so, I mean, as far as support and resistance goes, Greek Spy Strike kind of tells you all the things you want to know. Either on the delta side or the gamma side. I mean, like, delta's really flat around where we are, so that's not super helpful right now. And gamma kind of is too. But, you know, in the overnight session, we've moved back up into this range where there is gamma. And there is a little bit of resistance at like 20. It's not a ton. And then, like, gamma's kind of flat. Well, here, let me do this.
Well, yeah, this is
like
this
2025.
This is pretty good information in itself, though. Gamma and delta being relatively flat means the market maker's hedge locally is not going to be changing much, which means the price of SPX may have more freedom to wiggle.
Yeah, it does. As we expected into the end of this week, we expect gamma to fall off and things to loosen up. Except now, because of the negative news, there's a lot more negative gamma on the chain than there was at the beginning of the week, which is a little bit bearish. Obviously, there's big piles of negative gamma to the downside of us, which we've bounced off of. Those are probably sold puts. And like, we're back above 6,000, which means we're back above gamma neutral, so the market maker is a little bit more supportive. But there's definitely resistance out at like 25, like 20, 25, 40, 50, like those strikes. Where the bigger piles of gamma are to the upside. And those will be even larger because spot has moved up. But, I mean, that's generally how I'm finding, like, ranges for the day. When I'm looking for ranges. Not necessarily how we'll move through those ranges, but, you know, just interpreting where support and resistance are. This is super easy for that. And that is just in the data. That's why I think straddles are so easy to manage. Even though I know they're probably more complex than I think.
I think they are, especially given where the market is. Like, I'm sure if we're, you know, in more quote normal times, you can be pretty confident this is going to be the range. You know, VIX is, you know, kind of around 16 or whatever, and you don't have these like crazy like news driven events, or you have some sort of, you know, large institution just trying to prop up, you know, some underwater position. So it just seems like these days there's just all these different things where if we had, let's suppose we had Gammastrike, I don't know, like maybe 5 years ago or 7 years ago.
Just in
it probably
2024.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
no, like 2024 was by far the best year for straddles because they were so fucking cheap. Like, when we had VIX at like 12, and at the money contracts were just unbelievable.
It was like $4 for a 0 DT, like fucking at the money call. It was insane.
Yeah, sometimes it was cheaper than that. And you could get like 3 days of theta for like $1,200 on a straddle. 900 to $1,200, like, and so there were days where like event vol would just pick up a little bit the next day, and both sides of your straddle would have already printed. We're definitely not like this environment with the higher implied volatilities is a little bit harder. And moves have been tighter lately, which is, you know, part of the straddle getting cheaper is that, you know, there's that intraday realized volatility is high, but day over day historic volatility is low. And so, I mean, but that's also like an environment in which straddles benefit because you have swings. Harder to swing them on days where there's a ton of gamma falling off because price action gets like lethargic. But as far as like ranges, yeah, you should be able to determine like the bullish and bearish ranges pretty easily. I think a lot of
Yeah, and then
people
you
get
use
just shaken out of their straddles too early without being patient. You
and
have to be like a
also you
little
could
more patient on the call side and less patient on the pit side.
also the something that helps with this like like exiting your straddles intraday is the intraday SPXW data. That's definitely something to keep an eye on when if you're planning on exiting straddles on a certain day. Definitely look at what the ultra short term vol hedgers are doing.
Yep.
So I probably have been doing the opposite, which has probably caused me trouble. Is I've been less patient on the call side. Like as soon as it's up, I would set a stop on it, and then I keep thinking, okay, the VIX is so high; it's much higher than is normal. It's definitely gonna dip. The price is gonna dip, and it's gonna get back to the expected range. But it doesn't always happen that way. Or I'll like try to sell a short put against that size as a hedge, and then that just blows up and it's underwater. So I just feel like it's still a bit of a challenge, just trying to use the tools a bit more to be confident in what seems like a quote simple strategy.
So straddles are a little wonkier in the positive gamma environment. And something you may want to consider is, changing the ratio of your straddle a little bit to compensate for the fact that there is more upside price action in a positive gamma environment than downside price action. And so you can do that by like getting a little bit more theta on the put side, or you can also do that by, not levering the put side up as much, maybe like 1 to 2 or like 2-3 or something like that. And that way you have a little bit less downside exposure and you're less likely to fuck up the put side management. When you're in a negative gamma environment, it's really easy for both sides to just print, and you generally get those prints like pretty early in the day when there's a lot of price action, and so the higher vol is, the less time you're going to spend in the straddle. But when volatility is low and gamma's positive, you're going to be in the straddle for a little while. And so ensuring that you have a little bit of theta and balancing your ratio against kind of that upside bias probably help you profit a little bit better.
Interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. Just kind of assume, oh, it's positive environment, stocks go up. It should be fairly simple, but I hadn't really thought of it that way.
It's not. I will say that if you ever get like big overnight moves, like huge overnight moves, and like we have tonight, sort of, except we're just back to the pre-holiday close. But when you get a move like that overnight and you're actually straddled for it, like if the overnight move on the bull side exceeds the market maker's like expected move, um you're probably not going to get like a lot of upside price action the next day. You might get some, but usually when that happens, I'll set a stop and I'll leave the puts open for a pullback, because remember how we talked about this the last time you came up, how everyone's incentivized to sell those calls. Not just the people that already bought them, but everyone else who didn't buy them wants to sell them when the price of them is high. And so you get a lot of short vol to the upside of spot. And generally speaking, over a period of time, that starts to force capitulation on the in the money calls. And as those capitulate, delta and gamma on the downside fall off, and you usually get a failure. Now, how deep that failure is not always going to put your put back in the money, but it's going to give you a better exit on your put than you would have gotten otherwise. You already got a shitload of money off the call side, so you don't care. But that's usually what I wait for. And sometimes that takes like all day. Sometimes we just net and net and net and net, and that's like 245, and the market pulls back like 20 bips and then immediately reverses back to the upside. But if you catch that pullback when it happens, you can get out of those puts at like a significant markup from if you just closed out the whole straddle at once. And then there's also just, when I first started doing the trade and wasn't like very experienced with it, I would just close the whole fucking thing when it was profitable. If it was like 10, 15, 20%, I just close everything. Because that's already like great returns. And later on, I learned that you can just close them at like 3 or 5%. That's still, if you're making 5% compounding a day, you're making millions of dollars a year in a very short order. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that helps.
Well, it's at least more than what I knew before. So it's I keep thinking that it'll come through osmosis. Look at the charts enough. Look at Pickle's picks enough, and really try to piece it together. Look at notes I've made from like other roundtables, and hopefully finally something will click. But yeah, I guess I was just wondering in general. There's so much data here in the tool. It's trying to figure out, okay, what pieces would make sense for whatever strategy I'm trying to do in this current environment. So I just think there's like a lot of different sort of pieces you gotta juggle to figure that out.
Yeah, I've been doing straddles still, but I've diminished the allocation to them a bit because the market's just been so range bound. And the bulls really want that because they want the historic vol on like the 60 and 90 day to come down. So does the because it's really hard for them to price the longer dated options. Uh, and so we're getting a lot of like really really flat trading periods, and they're trying to force that kind of like open close at the same price kind of shit that really helps bring down that historic vol. What's actually surprising is we haven't gotten like a ton of those like out of the money condors, like the further out of the money condors, like the big. Usually in periods like this, we get huge condors out of the money that kind of just crush all the vol out from spot. One second.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I yield back.
God's
Just
daughter.
celebrating
Ugh,
some
I hate
Juneteenth.
salt and vinegar chip. They're just the whole concept of them is so disgusting.
I reclaim my time.
I'm sorry. The gentleman may have his time.
Wait, Jay Fresh, you hate salt and vinegar chips?
I do.
What okay, so like do you like lemons?
Yes.
So yes, simple question, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, let me continue. So you like lemons. Okay, good. Another simple question for you. Do you or do you not enjoy salt?
Correct. I do.
Okay, then if that is the case, then you enjoy salt and acidity. One final question for you, Mr. J Fresh. Do you or do you not enjoy potatoes?
I love potatoes.
Then it's reasonable to assume. No, I'm talking. It would be reasonable to assume that you would enjoy a salt and vinegar chip. Would it not?
Vinegar isn't the same acid as a lemon.
It doesn't matter how acetic it is or not. Okay.
It absolutely
acid.
matters.
It
No,
is delicious.
acids have different flavors.
Okay. Well, what do you
And
think about that
white
vinegar that you put
vinegar
on fish and chips?
It's a disgusting flavor. Open a bottle of white vinegar right now and take a sip. And tell me how delicious it is.
I'm sipping it right now, buddy.
So fucking gross. I mean, I like vinegar like in food, cooked to like the appropriate dosage. But like just straight up vinegar is just harsh. And like that when you get that hit of that vinegar smell with those chips, I just can't do it.
You were too cloistered as a child.
I don't know if that's true. Probably.
I'm already making presumptions about your relationship with your mother.
I just got
Vinegar in
delivered a
pancakes?
bag of
Yeah.
smashed bagels.
Congratulations.
Okay.
We're-
I'm not saying vinegar is not good. I'm just saying
What the fuck are you guys talking about?
vinegar
Jay
chips.
Fresh.
Jay
are
Fresh hates salt and
disgusting.
vinegar
How do you
chips.
feel
Oh,
about
they're
I'm asking for a bit.
disgusting.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah, you're right, Jay Fresh. Don't listen to these people.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God.
He's trying to tell me that because I like lemons and salt and potatoes, I should like salt and vinegar chips.
I reclaim my time.
Like white vinegar is the same as no. It's fucking gross.
They're so bad. They don't taste like vinegar. They don't even taste like the good parts of vinegar. It just tastes like somebody like it almost tastes like a soggy potato chip.
I can't believe my ears right now. This is heartbreaking news to me that you guys are
They
both
do smell like
so
ass.
uncouth and uncultured as to not like salt and vinegar chips.
I don't like kimchi.
You know what? You know what chips I do like?
Cabbage
the lime
farts.
chips. Lime chips are fine. That's kind of the same. That's
Like
kind
a
of the
tortilla
premise.
chip with lime.
Yeah, or like they have
Yeah,
even
that's
the ones
good.
that are lime flavored. I don't love like
Okay.
the texture of the like powdered lime. I'm not a huge fan of that, but like the flavor's fine.
Sauerkraut.
I like sauerkraut.
Yeah,
I love that
sauerkraut's
shit.
sauerkraut's alright.
I'm pretty much like, as a person, you can pretty much put anything on a plate, and if it is edible and looks good and smells good, I will enjoy it.
Dirk, we've seen your cooking. We know.
Wait,
Yeah.
Nick, is your dad watching this roundtable right now? Did he just join the best one? No, we need to.
Well, no
we
one's
need to
asking
launch
any-
this
Wait, has
because
your
it's
dad
all
hold
the
on, has your
regular-
dad never had cabbage farts?
You have to know.
Well, who doesn't?
Oh.
I do have. I do.
Go ahead. Ask something about actual stocks.
Okay,
please.
I do.
God.
I do
Ask
have
something
a
about
a
cabbage
question.
farts.
Everyone stop laughing at cabbage farts. This is a serious. We're professional traders and stock people.
This is a serious software product run
Yeah.
by serious people with serious customers with serious questions.
There you go.
And
That's correct.
Can you just repeat that to us every day?
once I'm profitable, I'll be happy to.
All right.
All right, I do have one serious question. It's about that volatile, and maybe it's a little bit too early, but I'm just curious, what was the thought behind it? Like, it looks cool, but how would you use that in, like, I don't know, like looking at the day's price action, or like thinking of selling a condor or some credit spread? Like, I'm just curious what you get out of that 3D representation of it compared to, say, the IV versus HP30 squiggle charts, or the IV that's live updated in the bottom right of the dashboard.
Well, the IV that's
Yeah.
updated in the bottom right of the dashboard is a very that's like just this little snippet next to spot. So you're looking at a very tiny part of the entire smile. Like just a
So
little
just-
like just a little clipping of it. And that has, that has its own fluctuations and stuff, but this is the entire 0 DTE smile. Like all the way, fucking all the way down here to like 5,000. It's not even the entire thing. It keeps going, actually, but it's most of it.
So
Yeah,
is that
so
the same as what we see in the GS Live for SPX, where it's that, it's in that bottom right. It has like the little dots
Yeah.
that are all
Yeah, you are looking
yeah,
at
so for
this, but you're looking
for
at a
GS Live, yeah, you're
tiny.
looking at the during that day, yeah, the 0 DTE. This is the next day's expiration, so tomorrow, Friday, is what it's showing you right now. So it kind of gives you like an overnight look at where the IVE for the next day is kind of starting at. But yeah, I could run through real quick kind of what
Yeah, if you
all
want
this
to.
information tells you. So, I mean, keep in mind that IV is price, and price is future expectations. So, what this page is telling you is literally what the expectations for the future are for the entire market. And so, the stuff on the top, the top right is probably where I'd start. So that shows you at the money IV, which is basically just saying, where does the market expect? What do market participants expect the market to do over the next 10, 30, 60, 90 days? And how have they positioned that relative to what the market has done over the previous 10, 30, 60, 90 days? And kind of what they do in those various situations in the past. So you have this look back over time. So you can kind of see what are people doing at the money, looking forward those time frames over time. Then the bottom three charts show you basically the current snapshot of market participants' expectations over all time and strikes, right? So obviously some you kind of have to have a good sense of what the baseline surface should look like in the absence of any specific pressures to push something out of the ordinary, right? So we already know that the smile is normal, right? The puts are usually way overpriced because of tail risk for crashes. Things don't tend to crash 30% up, but they'll crash 30% down. And so the put side tends to have that elevated IV that tends to be oriented like at the shorter time frames because you generally don't see a big move like that coming very many days in advance. So it tends to be concentrated at shorter times. So you kind of have this V structure that is really big at the beginning and then kind of levels out over time. Then if you look at the money, the expectation is that because of drift and things become more uncertain the farther you look into the future, IV is supposed to rise over time. So the farther out you go in expiration, you should expect the IV to increase. And it's so at the money. So then you get this kind of like saddle, this inverted saddle. So at the money, IV is low, and then over time it goes high. And then out of the money, IV is high and it drops down. So that's kind of like the expected look there. There is a specific way in which IV is expected to evolve. So if this was all just like a random walk and there were no odd expectations kind of built into the positioning, then you would expect this this term structure to be kind of a square root function. So like it kind of starts going up quickly and then flattening out. And you can actually kind of see that well, there's a couple things to note here. The first, let me make it bigger because I'm going blind here. Hold on. How do I make it bigger?
I thought they
go
stopped the
back to-
going blind.
Go back to 1980. Yeah. So a couple things you'll notice here is there's a big jump from the next few days up to the next couple weeks or so. I can't or months. Can't see all the dates; they're kind of cut off. But that kind of tells you that volatility right now is being shorted, just like in the next day or two, but is actually a little bit high over the next few days. And then it's actually kind of low again. So you see like that kink out there. It's like flat and then it starts going up. So there's actually kind of like this period of like short vol right in there as well. So it's kind of like there's kind of like some floppiness there. So I can see this just from knowing what, the academic vol structure should look like. And so you can see people are really wanting volatility to be low right now because they're all shorting 0DT and 1DTE options. Then they have expectations, roughly 30, 60 days out that vol might be a little elevated. But farther out than that, they expect vol to be low. And then kind of like out into the rest of the year, it kind of reverts back. Then I can look at the volatility smile at any one of those days that I'm interested in, and I can try to get a sense of where are people expecting things to move, right? So one of the things, and this is that yellow line on the 3D vol surface, is the minimum point at each expiry. And that minimum point corresponds roughly to where the market expects the price to go over time. Now, for the SPX, this tends to trend up pretty regularly just because markets go up. And so people have priced in a drift of, roughly 7 to 10% a year, depending on the conditions. So that drift up is pretty normal, and that's kind of like the expected move. Now, that doesn't mean that people are necessarily expecting that to happen in the short term exactly along that line, but they expect over time it should average that. But I can look at, say, for example, in the really short term, like the volatility smile that's being displayed now on the right, and I can say, oh, the IV curve looks a little funny. You can see that if we just ignore the fact that the curve is low up at the top, you can kind of see the weird on the put side. You can see that it's like it starts to go up and then it accelerates and then it decelerates. So what that kind of tells me is that there's a suppressed demand or a suppressed desire for puts like near the money, but there is a bigger desire for volatility coverage, right? So way out of the money puts. So going into tomorrow, it looks like people are kind of positioning for, and maybe this is all just kind of like a really, really, really big short put spread. But basically people are expecting the market to not go down, but if it does go down, they don't want to lose too much money or maybe even make some money. So I'm looking at this and they kind of expect and are willing to bet pretty heavily on the market not doing anything. Then I can finally, so you can do that at each expiry, kind of get a sense of what the shape of that smile is telling you. Then I can go to the 3D vol surface and I can look at the shape of the surface. So the question becomes at this point, now that we've gone through all these other tools, what does the volatility surface tell you that none of these other things do? And the thing that it can tell you is pricing dislocations. And so if you look at the shape, a lot of times what I'm looking for are strips or sections of that surface where there is depressed IV or elevated IV that is out of sync with the smoothness of the surface. So it kind of shows up as roughness on the 3D surface. When you see that, that can indicate, so actually, this is a great, so if you scroll back out and then look back at the put side, so you can kind of see what I've just observed. Go up and then look at it from the top and turn it to the left. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so well, get the light on the yeah, pretty close. Okay. So you can kind of see that there is a depression there. Kind of at that far OTM, and you can see it kind of hanging out. It starts to go farther and farther and farther out of the money, but it's kind of there even out to like, halfway down the surface, whatever expiration that is. That's what 728 or so.
620.
Right, but out to like the middle of the surface.
Well,
Keep
like
going.
out here.
A little more. Yeah. So in July. Yeah. So they've depressed they're depressing these far out of the money stuff out, it looks like out to July, which is
Yeah.
kind of strange because near the money, like right at 20, what we just said on the smile, they're actually along the far out of the money. But yeah, so go over to the volatility smile and then knock it forward in expiration. Okay, yeah. So then you can see that they've really kind of depressed the slope of that as you go out. And I bet if you keep going, that depression starts to become more noticeable. Yeah, interesting. So anyway, that's kind of how I look at it. I wish I had a better example to show you what I'm talking about with like the surface, like the roughness of the surface, because there are some days where it's pretty obvious that the sold put positioning is so extreme that it's like collapsing the IV at very specific places, and you can just see, oh, like puts are extremely oversold at that spot, and that is an opportunity to potentially jump in and take the other side of that trade.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's kind of the way that I approach this data. Again, it takes a lot of interpretation, and maybe that's something that we can do to kind of aid on this is provide some of that, make that interpretation intuitive. Like what does a unadulterated, what should IV look like without, you know, deviations from, expected market behavior, which is stocks drift upwards. I hope that was helpful and not just insane ranting.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, thanks. It definitely will take a while to be able to make sense of that. But I do like the idea of having sort of like case studies, or at least just like examples of, here's what this volatility, service looks like, or this is what this, Greek spice strike looks like, and here's how you could interpret this as a case study, and then you can kind of apply that towards other stuff you see. So I think that could definitely be good.
Actually, if you want to, the SPX chain looks all kinds of fun.
It's pretty illiquid.
Is that because of the OPEX or just independent of that?
Both.
It's a little of both, but the thing that I'm looking at specifically is not like the huge spikes for tomorrow, because I mean that's just because we're so close to expiration. There's a ton of noise in the calculations because time is almost zero and you're dividing by time, so you're like dividing by infinity. But anyway, if you look right past that, which is actually all the way out to like April, you can see what I'm talking about, that roughness. Those are depressions. Those are like really sharp depressions at specific strikes in the
Look at this. Look at that.
in the smile. Yeah, so there's little, but when you see like a big cluster, like what I'm talking about, that blue one, turn back to the right. Keep going. A little more. Right there. See
This
that
one?
blue cluster on the put side? Yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff. That's it. That tells me that there's those puts are very oversold to the point that those contracts are becoming illiquid. And so that might be a good opportunity to, as the vol traders say, warehouse some of that volatility or some of that vega. Because it's the position is so extreme that it's showing up in, the pricing structure that the market makers are pricing, right? So it's extreme enough that it's affecting their it's affecting their pricing models to a measurable degree, right? Those are the kinds of things you want to look for on the volatility in general. Because it tells you something about people's expectations and how much they're willing to pay to see that expectation come to life, and how painful it will be if they're wrong.
Oh.
Anyway, that's my spiel.
Cool. Thank you for the walkthrough. I see someone else has their hand up, so I'm good. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and asking questions.
See you
Yeah,
next
thanks
time,
for
dude.
being here. Yep, see ya.
Cabbage farts?
That,
Cabbage
the
farts?
SPX chain looks like shit.
Is it my turn?
It is.
Sure, what's up?
Okay. Well, so the only reason I really wanted you guys to call on me was so I could go that Gherk doesn't actually like salt and vinegar chips, but that's just
They're
very sad for
disgusting.
you. No. You just haven't found the right ones yet. But no, I could also be biased by the fact that my grandma used to soak beef roasts in 2 kinds of vinegar and Worcestershire sauce. So I'll just say I've been influenced. But I have another
Worcestershire.
gas.
I mean, that actually sounds good, but salt and vinegar chips,
Like try them with like dill pickles and goat cheese, or try them with tuna and dill pickles. Like the best combination.
Why are you putting fucking
My problem is
tuna
I
on your
can't-
potato chips?
I can't get
I
that
used
would
to
be
do
a
that.
texture mismatch for me, but I can't get past the smell of salt and vinegar chips. The smell
Offensive.
the smell stops me.
You know what smells even worse? Salt and vinegar crisps. Like if you go to England and you have like Tato, they're so much more vinegary than they are in the US.
Yeah, I'll just say the very small amounts of time I've spent in England, it amazes me that like any culinary people come out of that place, because England
I'm not
It's
surprised.
horrendous.
disgusting.
I'm not
They eat,
surprised that
like, the
culinary people come
worst-
out of there because they're trying to escape their own terrible food, right?
Probably. But like
Yes.
they also like they eat mayonnaise and vinegar on everything, and like they cook all their meat well done because they're like terrified of getting brainworms.
The meat was
Because
just an
the food
abomination.
is
When I,
disgusting.
when I went there, granted, we probably stopped at a slightly touristy pub, but they gave me their roast beef. It was literally just beef that had been boiled, and it had no spices, nothing whatsoever. It was just shockingly bad. I was like, what did you give me? How can you go wrong with a beef roast? So yeah,
Ew.
I've
it
had
was
some
disgusting.
I've had some food in England that was like some of the shit they make is good. Like those like steak and kidney pie.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was delicious. The little pork fucking buddies or whatever. They're just like it's just like that same short crust pastry, but it's like stuffed with like pork and potatoes. It's like a canned corned beef hash pie. And those things are awesome, but some of their food is just inedible. Like their
Yeah.
corn on Domino's pizza. Ugh.
They put
Ew.
corn on pizza.
They do. They put fucking corn on everything. They act like it's a goddamn delicacy.
And yet you rail against pineapple on pizza. I mean, at least that's sweet and delicious corn.
Nope, that's also fucking disgusting. And everyone who eats it should be ashamed of themselves.
The only one I eat it
had
on,
a meat and cheese board.
it's actually good on the
It didn't have any
and
fucking
pizza.
pineapple on it.
You put so many things on those and pizzas that it just can make anything good. And they also had a really good balsamic kind of vinegar glaze that they used to put on the pizzas, and that with the pineapple was
There's
excellent.
nothing vinegary about balsamic glaze. It's just syrup. It's just
But
wine syrup.
tangy. It was tangy.
Mm.
And I mean, it is vinegary because it's balsamic. It's balsamic vinegar. It's reduced.
Yeah, but is it
You're
Japanese mayonnaise too? That shit has so much MSG in it that it just tastes fantastic.
Mayonnaise
everything.
on pizza?
Kewpie? Yeah.
Okay, and so the other thing I have to contribute tonight is I just got out one of those compounding gains calculators, and I put in the value of one full port, $400.
Ew,
Over
5,000?
No, $400. That's one
Okay.
full port, right? We've agreed on this. This is a standard unit of measurement in the pickle jar.
No. Greg's ports are $1,000. It's one full port is $1,000. You're talking about these are like micro ports.
I don't know. I was under the impression that one full port was $400 and half a port is $200, and so yeah.
No.
At any rate, so with $400, 5% daily gains, it tells me the incredible number at the end of a year of $135 million. How can that even be possible? This has to be wrong.
Did you do 365 or 252?
I did 261.
There's 252 trading days in the
Yeah,
year.
it's possible. That's the power of compounding it.
How is that possible? Like, it was like they must have done the math wrong. I don't believe it.
So that is something that's called exponential growth.
I've heard of it, but that's
yeah,
unbelievable.
5%
right
compounding on $400 is like 87 million. It's like 218,000x.
Yeah, so like think of it like trying to think of a good analogy. So have you ever heard
sit there and start doing it? Just multiply something by 5%.
Yeah, by 1.05 over and over again, you'll just see it grow because you're increasing a larger amount by 5% each time. So that amount just grows faster and faster. That's the exponential growth thing. Because the quantity you have is larger each time.
If you did
it just kind of
if you had $5,000 and you did 3% a day for an entire year, you'd have $8.5 million. If you did 5% for an entire year, you'd have $1 billion.
Kirk, why didn't you tell me this before?
I've told everybody this all along, every fucking day.
Hundreds of times.
I'm like, well, if I don't make at least 68% on the day, I am just a loser.
No, just little baby
68,
steps.
why not 69? Got him.
Well, I like to focus on one job at a time, but anyway. The gains between like say where it goes from 4,000 and then the next month 13,000, then all of a sudden it's 42,000, then you're 100. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's cool stuff. But the thing is too is like when talking about these compounding gains things, you're basically just jerking off with math, and that's important to consider. Because you can think about it this way: a 50% drawdown requires a 100% gain to recover from.
Hey, Dork, in 2024, I averaged 1.8% compounding a day on my straddle account.
Yeah, did you full port the entire straddle account into your straddles every day?
No.
That's right. That's what, so like that's the thing. Like it's when you talk about the downside, right? That the furthest down you can go is always 100%, but the amount of gains required to return back to the original level goes up exponentially as you lose more and more.
Yep. That's why I tell people don't lose money.
Yeah, it's a super important. Like 10% drawdown doesn't seem like much, but then you have to remember, oh, I got to make 20%
You don't
of
even need
of
to
what
be
I
like.
have now.
You don't even need to be a good trader to make money. You just need to be good at risk management.
It's amazing.
Just be good at
even-
risk management, and you will make money. You will make more
Even-
money
What
than
you're
you
saying
make
is that-
trying to chase like 50% returns on fucking out of the money calls and puts.
So what I'm hearing is that don't
You
take
only-
the risk of losing out on gains by closing your underwater puts 10%, 20% down. Hold them to 0.
No, that's wrong.
No,
Did you see the video of my dragon, JFresh?
I did not.
I did. It was very bouncy.
It is. It's a bouncy dragon. I
Yeah,
bought it.
even
I
if
bought
you-
a. I bought a little dragon when I was out getting my food tonight. He's squishy.
He's a new acquisition. Didn't know that.
I'm gonna add him. He's now gonna be friends with my black swan mobile.
The black swan was adorable. I noticed that right away. But yeah, like even if you only made 5% one day a week, you know, you're like at I think it was like 4 or 5,000 for over the course of a year. But if you do it 2 days a week, it's 63,000. And if you did it 3 days a week, it's 800,000.
Yeah, this is.
So you don't even have to win 5% every day, just some of the days.
Yeah,
This
but
is-
this is so just be careful. This is the trap that I mean, yes, getting compounding gains is miraculous, but it also requires a level of execution that, you know, it requires a lot of work and a lot of diligence and a lot of you know,
Consistency.
Control,
It's
yeah,
so much consistency.
and the stakes just raise every time. But
Well,
but like
well,
this is the
think
trap
about it.
that people fall into. Like this is why things like Tesla are priced the way they are. Like this is why people price in like 30 years of growth into stocks that are growing right now, because if they continue to grow at those rates that they grew that quarter, like it would explode into some craziness, which it's like not possible for them to grow that big, but nobody cares because nobody really understands that math. They're just like, oh, it's going up 30% a quarter. It's going to be, you know, $100 trillion in 3 years.
I mean, and like with compounding gains too, like the thing is when you think about like a really simplified example of trading the markets, right, is betting on coin flips. Okay, so trying to consistently land heads every single day is a statistical impossibility. So and I'm not saying every trade is binary or what have you, but right, the positioning you take, you know, that's why Gherk spends a lot of time talking about spreads and stuff, is because they allow you to define your risk such that you're not just flipping a coin like if you buy a call or buy a put. Right. Instead, what you're doing is defining a range, right, that you know you think has this certain probability. And so instead of flipping a coin, you're more like playing at the craps table, where you have a little bit better odds. But you will experience drawdowns and those sorts of things, and it's up to you to manage them, because otherwise, and then that's what throws off the whole compounding gains thing too. Like you have to have such unbelievable consistency in the market to get like 2% compounding gains every single day for an entire year. Like on average, yeah, that's crazy. What Gherk said was nuts. It's much more realistic to be thinking about, like, you know, I mean, it's a really good goal, but realistically, if you're doing like, you know, just fixed income strategies and those sorts of things, you're going to end up somewhere around like, you know, 40 to 70 bips a day if you're good. So just to kind of, you know, the whole whenever people pop off on the compounding gains masturbation, right? It's important to remember that pulling off that scaling, one, your position sizes get really hard to manage as you get closer and closer to that number, and your likelihood of experiencing a drawdown goes up. But beyond that too, like just purely from a statistical standpoint, it's near impossible to get those wins every single day. And when you don't, it's up to you to not get all emotional and then just lose more and more. And now you're in that, I'm down 50%. Now I got to, you know, double my money to get back to where I was. And that's a way worse place to be.
That's such a huge
Yeah, I've done that.
advantage to being an institutional trader, is when you work at like a trading desk, you don't have to manage your risk. There's some guy just somewhere behind like another computer who's just doing that for you. So when your
Yeah,
risk limits get hit, your positions just close out, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll find a new one.
geez, I need that. Yeah, I should just make my husband do that for me.
Just
Well, like
But then-
I tell Nuke, like, you know, a lot of things have to be just made automatic and completely emotionless, right? Regardless of how you feel about a position, right? If it's not working for you, it's not working for you. And that's,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
there's no you can shit in one hand and wish in the other, but like, you know, you and I both know which one will fill up first.
yeah,
What are
I mean,
you
it's
doing
just
with your
it's
hands?
definitely, let's not ask him that.
what happened?
No, I mean, you know, I've definitely done that way too many times, and it starts to feel like, are you some kind of idiot? You've done this to yourself how many times? But I feel like I'm getting to the point where I may be emotionally unattached from what's going on, just because everything has been so crazy. It's like you can't really get stuck on what you think is going to happen. So yeah, just managing
leave,
the like.
leave preconceived notions at the door, and just ride the chaos, man.
Yeah, I
Get
think
tubular, bro.
I think I've gotten there. Only took me 4 years to like kind of let go of that whole thing.
Don't worry, you'll never get those emotions back. It's great.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
yeah, it's like card counters at the casino. You think they're getting all jacked when they like, you know, start getting a hot table? No, there's no emotion in it. They're just sitting there doing a job.
I can tell you live in Vegas because you talk about gambling a lot.
I don't, but when we talk about statistics, gambling is like the best analogy for normal people to, you know, understand.
You know, I don't
I
even
live
know how
in
to play.
Reno, so which also has
Yeah.
gambling.
I don't even know how to play poker, to be honest.
So poker, the hands in poker, just so you know, the hands that win are actually organized by their probability of occurring.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've been getting into chess lately. I've been like just dueling the computer, and I think I definitely have an obsessive personality. So I'll just be like, no, I'm gonna win. I just keep going.
it's
That's
the
why I play
sunk
my
cost
kids in
fallacy.
chess, because they suck at it. I just destroy them.
Do you tell them they're bad and that they should feel bad?
Oh yeah, I dunk on them hard.
Good.
The bots on chess.com actually like talk shit at you while they're beating you.
Well, good. It's a good lesson to learn. Get
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all I
I
wanted to
don't
say.
like
Mostly just
poker
wanted.
because the margins suck.
What, on poker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, poker's the worst. If you want to be a full-on chud, you either play craps or you count cards. I mean, counting cards is the best, but you'll get, you know, they'll tell you to stop playing blackjack if you're counting cards, and then but with craps, just the natural odds of the game of craps are actually in your favor. Just very, very slightly. So over enough time,
They'll
you
also
could make
just
money playing
kick you
craps.
off a craps table if you're running hot.
Yeah, I mean, they'll kick you off anything if you're running hot on it.
Well, thankfully the market doesn't do that.
Nope, they
That's
don't.
overall. Yeah,
No,
I mean, I can't.
But the market
this
is
isn't-
completely merciless. So that's the thing.
I just
Well,
Do you
just can't
go to
believe
a
this-
lot of merciful casinos?
well, the fact they don't break your kneecaps for counting cards anymore is pretty merciful.
That's nice of them. The market also doesn't break your kneecaps for making Gammastrike.
Yet.
All right.
Hmm. That would be the market maker, not the market.
Same thing.
It'd probably be an investment bank. Same thing.
It's okay, Jark. We'll get you like one of those aluminum T-ball bats, and you can protect your home with it.
I want one of those, like, they used to sell those like mini bats at baseball games. I want one of those things.
Oh, I remember those wooden bats they hand out.
Yeah, they're great for killing fish and also breaking car windows.
The mustard line is not a meaningful indicator in any way. We built it to do a thing, and it doesn't do the thing it's supposed to do. And it definitely doesn't do anything you guys think it does.
You know what, Gert, just so you know, everyone in the pickle jar thinks that when you say that, you're actually meaning the opposite, that it is very meaningful and is doing exactly what we want it to do. And so they're just going to believe in it harder.
Yeah, there's really no winning.
Yeah.
So
Just give
how
it
are you
up.
killing? How are you killing fish with a mini baseball bat? Like, where does that come into play?
Well, so when you catch the fish, right, you bop them in the head to stun them, and then you take your fillet knife or whatever you got, and you get them right at the base of the head, and then they're dead.
Are you supposed to just grab them by the tail and whack them against something?
Same thing.
That's a very cruel way to kill a fish, but you could. But
Do you know
you whap
that
them with a
recent
bat first.
studies show fish are in pain from the moment they get caught for like 10 minutes?
Well, yeah, they have nerves,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, it's
Yes,
like
Yeah.
you should always
it
think
hurts,
the fish
it
before you
hurts
kill
for
it.
them to breathe air. Like, it's very painful.
Well, I haven't
Kinda like
killed a
CO2
fish.
for humans.
I don't think I've killed a fish in like 15 years.
Yeah, I tend to kill my fish through substandard water quality as opposed to actually catching them. But no, that's my other
Fin
completely
rot?
male hobby.
You're a fish murderer? Nice.
On occasion, not always though.
It's
You know.
monger.
Hmm.
No, I have saltwater reef tanks with coral.
What's Willie doing over in the YouTube chat? Weirdo.
He's waiting to appear here because he wants to wait for the end of the stream so he can pop back on and close things off.
There's gonna be no pickles picks tonight. I have to be up at like 7 in the morning for a doctor's appointment.
Colonoscopy.
Ooh, I read something about allergy medicine being linked to dementia. Are you on top of that, Gherk?
He already has dementia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Confirmed.
Have you seen me walk?
Well,
do the lean?
he's 3'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, so seeing him walk is pretty comical, especially with the size 20 shoes that he wears.
Huh. I just swing forward on 2 arms at a time.
Wasn't it the guy in Hey Arnold, the one dude who's like short and stubby?
I don't know. I never watched that show. I found the characters annoying.
They were annoying.
And they had stupidly shaped heads.
I just popped a Surtec. Nice, G-Square. I've been posting so many pictures of my dragon in chat.
Hmm.
Oh,
I've not been looking.
I even posted a little video.
That's like what I do to my Dillard every night.
Is that your wall dildo?
Give me 1 sec, guys. I got to take a quick suck.
We're gonna make that a thing.
Sells those little ridiculous monkey-looking things that are like pink or blue, and you can squish them all over the place, and they've got crazy hair. I got it for my kids, and now I play with it a lot. It's very fun.
Right now, you got senior mangoes up here.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, I got one more question. Then I'm gonna go to bed.
Same.
See you later, guys.
See you later.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Good evening, guys.
What's up, Mango?
Oh, well, I'm glad to get to ask, I guess, some of the last questions. This is exciting.
You do.
Whoa. How many questions you got locked and loaded here? Killing me, man.
Oh, just a couple.
Don't listen to him. He's just grumpy. He doesn't have a wall dildo like Dork.
So first, an on-topic question about Gammastrike to be respectful.
Excellent.
This new feature I'm seeing, what the heck is this thing? Is this a new demo of some new thing?
Yeah.
Were you here like 40 minutes ago when I explained it all in detail?
Oh, I just got out of work. I'm so sorry, sir.
Oh no, no,
I
no, no, that's fine. I was
I
just
can
gonna
take it
say
as
if you
simple.
Don't call him sir. It makes him horny. And then also,
actually, it's actually doctor. Thank you.
here we go. Another sex game.
Call me your
No, if
doctor.
you actually go back on the YouTube and watch the stream, JFresh talked
Yeah,
about this page for like 45 minutes.
it
Yeah,
wasn't that
you're
long. But go watch the stream and let me know if you have any questions after had gone through it. Same for window.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
you're
talked until he was blue in the face about it.
Gonna try to
you're
ask.
good for sure. I just wanted to know if it was a new feature. I didn't want to get us on any crazy.
It is a new feature. It's being released to the beta boys imminently. Actually, whenever Nuke gets around to it.
Okay, so now I was wondering. I got clued into the idea that Gherk, you think that TradingView is faster than Webull. So I've actually been trading through my Webull on TradingView, and now I've noticed this for sure. I can confirm that you are definitely right.
Trading,
But
it's
what
like a millisecond difference. It's not that's well, it's like 100 milliseconds difference, but it's not that substantial.
No,
But it
yeah,
is
but it
there.
was the
Yeah.
slightest. Yeah, it was the slightest. I was like, this is ridiculous. For the same, I'm paying less for CME data on TradingView than Webull. So I was so glad that you let me know. But then also, I was just wondering, so how are you figuring out, which I'm sure that all three of you probably have different answers to this, but how are you guys figuring out, like, I saw kind of JFresh's thing explaining the idea of, well, I would know when this part of the puts are e-liquid and maybe oversold. But how would you really know when the option price as a whole is really going down besides just the VIX? Because we have been in kind of a like still lower VIX environment, like it's still being suppressed, but then we have super fucking expensive options. Like the puts on for Friday are ridiculously priced in comparison to the calls.
Yeah, so
At
VIX
least on
is
EFs.
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
VIX is roughly 30 days out, which is actually actually I kind of go through this in my explanation of the vol page. So yeah, the timeline for where the VIX is calculated is actually suppressed right now.
can we also talk
But
about that VIX is not a measure of volatility?
it is a measure of
Variance.
well, the square root of variance, which is
Yeah.
volatility, but it is the measure of the value of it's basically the measure of the volatility of a strip of options that are bought in such a way that they are only sensitive to volatility and not sensitive to price, which is a volatility swap or a variance swap.
It's a variance swap.
Yeah, they do variance swap and then take
So
the square root of that, which
okay.
is surprisingly different from a volatility swap, which is very hard to actually very hard to replicate with options directly. But anyway, yeah, so not quite the same thing. It's just IV. So when you're thinking about like volatility, don't think about the VIX. Think about like at the money IV, near the money IV, out of the money IV, on the actual chain that you care about.
Yeah, we also have like a
crap.
1 hour window where there hasn't been just a metric fuck ton of event vol caked into the options this week. Like we had a lot of big data on Tuesday, and then FOMC is notoriously a huge volatility event. And then in addition to that, the day after FOMC, holiday. So you have a market closure. So the Friday options are 2 DTE, not 1. So you're still paying for that extra theta despite it evaporating in the overnight session. So that's one of the
Yeah,
reasons
they
those
don't.
options were so
Yeah.
much money.
VIX does weird stuff on the weekends too. So people always claim that like they're like some people call it VIX Crush Friday. The VIX mechanically drops about 2.5 to 3%. On a Friday and then rises by about the same amount on Monday because of that weekend effect. So it's got to drop, like for it to be actually quote unquote Vol Crush Friday, the VIX value has to drop by more than like 3%. So if it's like 4 or 5%, you're like, okay, people are crushing some vol, but you have to factor in the fact that it's just mechanically going to drop by roughly 3% on its own, even if nothing happened. So there's a lot of reasons to not use the VIX as like a pure measure of volatility and therefore pricing of the market. Just look at the actual options chain itself. And that's what this this tool, the way that we built it, that'll help you come up with that. But yeah, I'm guessing you're looking at out of the money puts, very short dated. Those are very pricey right now.
Mm-hmm. That's why everyone's gonna sell them tomorrow.
Yeah, but not at all what VIX is measuring. So VIX doesn't capture that at all.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you for.
Windmill's got some good tips down here too in the chat if you want to read that. So there are they calculate VIX for different time periods, and he uses a bunch of them and just kind of keeps track of them. I myself, when I'm just like looking at the market and during the day, I'll look at the VIX and the 1 day VIX 1 day. Look at those together.
Yeah, that's cool, JFresh. Thank you for explaining that to me. I now have the implied volatility across my options chain, so I'll start cross-referencing that. I didn't even realize it was something I could put on there, so that's actually really cool. I'd much rather look at that on a because I've been doing option selling. I'm not buying in this environment. I mean, you guys really put me on to the environment that's a lot better for cashing out than at least I mean Gherk put me on to spreads for sure before I had found some other option seller guys that were at least I mean they definitely put some money in these SPX spreads. So
Senior Mangoes, are you cheating on us?
Oh, I'm not cheating on you.
That's what I'm
No,
hearing.
no. You wouldn't believe yeah, no, it was a product of drama in the Jim James Discord that I found other guys that actually are fading him, and the amount of money that the amount of money they make fading him is ridiculous.
I followed him for a while on Twitter, and he just kind of never said anything that interesting or enlightening or very correct or courageous. He just made,
I think that's why he's
go
got
with the
such a
flow
big following, is because he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, maybe.
Like if you
I don't know,
if you never predict anything, you're never wrong. It's like that other guy who like just turned his entire Twitter feed into him fasting. What was his name?
Oh yeah, Few. I don't know
Yeah,
his actual name, but he says Few a lot.
Gayad or whatever.
Yeah, Michael Gayad. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. He just never says anything. Like he said a bunch of things and then he was wrong about all of it, and so now he just says nothing ever. Which I mean, doing this regularly, even as somebody who does know something, that's incentivized because like if you actually give a shit, it's hard to see people eat losses and blame it on you. But like I don't know. I just couldn't I still want to say things about stuff and what stuff will do. Even if that's wrong sometimes.
Yeah, no, I wanted someone who traded with proof, and I mean, he's kind of an ICT nerd too. That was a bigger question I asked. I was asking for the group more so. just do you follow any fair value gap stuff at all, Gert? Because like
No.
I've been practice prop trading on.
Oh god, don't prop trade.
I know,
That's a
but I don't want to
scam.
blow up my Weeble. I do not want to
Just
blow up my
paper
Weeble.
trade. Find like a good. There's a lot of good futures paper trading platforms. Don't pay somebody to trade. It's just it's the worst.
You know how much I pay for it though?
I don't know. It's probably like what is it, like $50 or something to take the test.
It's like $15 or something. So
Yeah,
I'm
Jesus.
like,
It's just that just means it's gotten even more scammy than the last time I looked at it.
yeah, but that's why I was like, well, if they did pass me, it wouldn't be that different from paper trading. But I mean, I don't think they. I know that I don't think they will. It's just like it's just a little extra incentive because I feel like sometimes when I'm paper trading, I'm not getting as much done. But I agree with you, Gherk, for sure. I feel like I'm kind of ready to go live next week, so I'm actually
Nice.
excited. I've been preparing for like over a month and a half.
Cool.
So it's been quite a interesting dilemma, but so far I've just been doing that accompanied with like spreads that I'm just selling because the one guy I've been talking to, he literally showed me a picture with 80,000 theta on his chain. I was like, bro, what the fuck? And he just sells 10 delta puts and calls. But like he never does manual condors. I mean, if you do the manual condors, except for on Fed days, you can just get like screwed on the pricing. That's what I noticed. That's why I knew options were crazy expensive though. I set up a manual condor on the Fed day and it would fill me at like just prices that seemed way too good to be true. So that's when I knew how to kind of math out if I was paying way too much. But then, of course, like most of those condors, if you were in ES, would have gotten absolutely fucked.
You'll get a feel for pricing over enough time.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that for sure. But I thank you so much, Gherk, for just at least getting me off this debit train and telling me what a crazy circus I was in before. I mean, I was actually following Captain's calls, so I did pay my tuition for taking signals. I mean, it was so fucking stupid. I mean, the only person who's thrown out signals that really work on YouTube has literally been you, Gherk, which is like, I just am in disbelief every time you do it because I'm like, wow, he really just said it's a kind of a good place to buy puts here, and then we went straight down. I mean, that was literally the other day for me. I was like, damn it, what the fuck? I didn't even get enough time.
I try to help where I can.
Yeah, no, it was good. You saved me on a put spread, so I was pretty happy about that. I was like, oh well, still have a little time. But no, thank you so much. I've been I got on TradingView, so now I don't feel like just absolutely crazed by the Weeble. I mean, Weeble can just go crazy sometimes. I think you've had experience with it where it just gets like jacked up, like the system doesn't know what to do with itself.
That's all brokers.
If we get a lot
I've never run into a broker that didn't have those problems.
Oh yeah, no, Tasty definitely has had it sometimes. Like when
Tasty, Fidelity has it every fucking week. Vanguard you can't even trade on. TOS has it. I mean, they all do it. It's just most broker software has been updated only out of necessity over like 20 years, and it's just a giant pile of spaghetti code with fucking problems just everywhere, just bloat crap. And like the only way to really fix that is to go like in parallel build an entire new package of brokerage software and then switch them out. But none of them want to do that because it's just expensive and they don't need to. Like they're gonna get their fees either way. I'm sorry, you asking about Trader Workstation? Hey, it's quirky, all right, Willie.
Well, I really appreciate it. I was going to say too, I wasn't sure if you had seen what IBM was doing too, but I'm seriously considering that Chanos might be right in shorting IBM at this point because I don't know where the fuck they can go. I mean, I work in like retail, and they were like the supreme like overruling. It was like once any of those more digital things took them out, it was like they had to expand to other things through just acquiring other companies. But like for me, I started listening to that, and I was like, fundamentally, this guy is pretty fucking right. And I've noticed, Kirk, in your talks recently, later in the like aftermarket stuff, it seems like you're noticing that like the money is running thin. Like at some point, this doesn't continue to just run up. I mean, we're gonna have some weakness here. So I wasn't sure if you had that on your radar, Kirk, but
Yeah, no, that's what I've been looking at.
you have been? Oh, no way.
I've been thinking about that a bit.
Yeah, and then the short income option type plays. Like, have you looked at any of the micro strategy, like short income stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
seen
about
that.
just stacking some of that stuff up with any of my profits I have as just like insurance. Because I'm like, if they'll pay me to short something, I'm down with that. I mean, even if it doesn't end up really being that payment, I wasn't sure if you kind of trust them in a way if they have enough liquidity, right?
Yeah.
And you obviously, if you get the direction, I'm not saying, oh yeah, this is the time to try it for sure. But I did notice that. I mean, so far my big thing has been anytime I get small amounts of profit, like you've been I feel like you've been trying to train people towards this by showing your like small wins in a day that amount to like freaking $400. But yeah, anytime I've been having like 200 in a day or something, I'll just put all of that in the Berkshire premium income thing, like the new OMA one they released.
It's a good habit.
But
There's also Jeppy.
yeah, no. Oh yeah, Jeppy too. I definitely look into Jeppy, but oh my God, wait, I was gonna ask, are Dork or JFresh, one of you had to have bought the Jeppy puts. Was it someone else?
It was Dork.
It was Dork.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, did they print for you, bro? Did they ever print like on that down move?
He made like $7.
No. I bought them long before that drop, and I like. I want to say I bought them
It's a
around
yes or
the
no
beginning
question.
of the year.
Yes or no question, Dork.
No, I was
Look,
just,
I will have my researchers get back to you on that.
Okay, I'm gonna reclaim my time.
Yeah, they made me a little bit of money, but it was like nothing really. But they were definitely not for like, I think they were like bottom of the chain something rathers, and just they were like 10 cents. And I think I sold, like, I was able to sell one of them for 15 cents and the rest for 10 cents. So it wasn't like the most amazing trade in the universe. But I'm guessing if I had held them, I probably could have gotten like 15 cents for all of them, which would have been nice.
yeah,
It was a meme trade for sure. It was definitely not like actual Jeppy puts.
oh, for sure. No, I had a feeling they weren't like in the money Jeppy puts. That would have been
No,
really.
it was literally like bottom of the farthest chain puts. It's just total meme. So
Yeah,
it was Jeppy Vana.
Yeah, I love it. Well, great job, guys, as always. And I feel like you guys really went off on a fireworks show earlier that I missed. So I'm going to go look back at that and see. It seems like Gherk's flexing on me right now. So,
What, playing
yeah,
with us?
Yeah, with your little 3D model thing.
I do this too. Like I'll just pop open this page and just goon.
I
It's
love
great.
how GME is worth $13 in August. I'm gonna buy it there
you long GME at 13.
in 2026, June
Nice.
of 2026. I'm gonna go long at $14.
Or Ryan Cohen's going to buy more
It's not a
Bitcoin, then that's
crystal
going to go down to
ball.
$5.
Yes, it is. You told me it was a crystal ball, Jfresh.
I did not.
You said, "Look at the crystal
Jfresh-
ball I put on the vol chart."
Yeah, he's like, it's guaranteed money.
God. Well, we have the tape, so I don't have to defend myself.
I would like to get that to my office as soon as you guys get that. Thank you. I reclaim my time.
Grumtu would like to know, how do I mistake leverage for genius? Same thing. Yep. If you have money, this is America. If you have money, you're clearly smart and better than everyone else.
Yes.
And the only way to get a lot of leverage is with a lot of money. So, boom.
Genius.
Genius. Same like.
Yep.
Does your dragon squeak when you squeeze it, or
No, it doesn't. Just, it's got a vein in its throat that gets very swollen.
Wow.
It's like very hyper realistic.
So
It's got like a
so
whole
it's-
vascular system.
it's more similar to Dork's wall dildo than I first realized.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah,
if you put your
is-
finger in its mouth, it will just stay on your finger. Like it doesn't fall off.
I need to get me one of these things.
I could get more. I got it from like this bodega in the toy aisle.
Oh yeah, you'll just ship it to us, right?
Yeah,
Get
I'll ship
those
it
and
to
ship
you,
them to
yeah.
us with our hats. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll
just
put
ship
one
that, yeah.
one of these weird dragons in each of the hats.
Yeah, in
Perfect.
the box you're definitely gonna ship to us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ship the whole box to Dork and let him ship it to you.
Damn it!
guys.
Now I'm gonna have like
He's-
some fucking 15 of these dragons sitting around.
You could just,
I'm just gonna cover myself in them and take a picture.
yeah, like human sushi.
Yes, yeah, I'll be naked and just have the private bits covered up with dragons.
Yeah. Put like extra
Love it.
dragons down by your junk though, so people think it's bigger.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have like the dragons going down like across the leg, you know, and
Yeah,
everything.
very Burt Reynolds-esque.
Exactly. Well-
Finger's a euphemism for penis.
I mean,
Great.
well, that's why I need one now. I thought that was the thing.
Oh, Grimtu, who would sexually harass me every day if it wasn't for you?
Me.
Yeah, alright, fair. Alright, mangoes. Time's up. Let's talk about baby farms.
It's
Baby
time.
farms.
Good night, guys.
Night, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions, man.
Yeah.
And watch the video.
Anytime.
Yeah, watch the video. And
Read
then
the
come
doc.
back
Absolutely.
next week and complain about all the stuff Jfresh didn't answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
No, that'll be good because at least we'll be on common ground at that point.
Yeah, I'll do detailed rebuttals and notes on it.
You'll have 5 minutes.
Good night.
Later, guys.
See ya.
Dork,
Adios.
Jfresh, as always. It was fun hanging out.
Did we ever meet to do the thing?
Nope.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Should we meet to do the thing?
We're gonna have to at some point. Do you want to do it tonight?
I don't know
Or
if I
like
have it in me.
Saturday?
Saturday.
Alright.
Let's do Saturday and
Yeah.
get the stuff out.
Let's kick
But
that
yeah,
can down
okay.
the road a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Love it.
Just a few days. All right.
It's a yelling approach.
Yep. Alright. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, if you want to learn more, check out the documents on app.gammastrike.com/docs. Or documentation. What is that link? I don't even know.
It's docs.
It's docs.
Docs.
Yeah,
I don't
docs.
know. I haven't read them.
I got it.
Wow.
Here, I'll link it in the video for you guys.
It's docs.
Yeah, link it on
believe
the
I have the
YouTube,
video
man.
somewhere. On the YouTube. Ah, here it is.
They'll be used as YouTube.
There we go. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Later.
See ya.